Okay, we're live. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are with the amazing Amanda Sophia, who's one of our regular columnists and a wonderful Celtic priestess who always has a lot of wisdom to share about cycles in the year. And of course, we're coming up to Lughnasadh on August 1st, which is we're at the cusp between summer and autumn at that stage of the year. So we thought it would be wonderful to invite Amanda onto the page to talk about it. So hi, Amanda. Thank you so much for being
Hi.
with us again.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. And I am just always so grateful to be with you. And I love, we always have such a giggle before we get on. And the reason why we're giggling today is for some reason we always end up wearing the exact same color.
Same color. I think last time for the summer solstice video, we were both in red and now we're both in burgundy.
Yeah,
So
we're just dressing for the season, you know?
stay tuned, positive lifers. See what color we both decide to wear next time. We don't pre-plan it, but it just happens. Though I've kind of realized that your blue earrings sort of match my little bracelet here. So even there,
yeah, we'll have
there's
to.
a little bit of coordination.
I love it.
Oh, wonderful. So it's always lovely to chat to you, Amanda. And I know that a lot of people enjoyed the summer solstice video that you did just over a month ago. So it's great to have you back.
Oh, I am so
Yes.
happy. Such an incredible community, and it's so beautiful to get to go around the wheel together and to really take this time to pause. And like you said, the Lughnasadh, right, is one of the festivals on the Celtic Wheel, and we're right at that midpoint. We had the summer solstice, that most yang time of the year, and then we're heading now towards the darker part of the year, and we'll start with the autumn equinox. And it's interesting because I live here in the country, and all the tractors, you see them coming in because this is the second harvest, and so if you kind of look at a lot of the flowers and stuff, I mean, everything's beautiful, but you can see that it's starting to wilt a little bit. There's been a lot of fire, a lot of sun, and so that's starting to go inwards is already happening. And I think it's such a beautiful representation of how cyclical life is and how we really are in this yin and yang. Like, here's the sun, and it's been so hot here in Ireland the last couple of weeks. I mean, we really have been experiencing, it's been beautiful. And at the same time, the days are starting to go a little shorter, and and it's about to kind of shift on the wheel. So these festivals are very much so a time for us to kind of pause, look to nature and go, okay, what's happening in nature? And how is that being reflected in me internally? So before I kind of go into that, I'd love to talk a little bit more about Lughnasadh, right? So he is our incredible sun god, God of integrity, and they looked at him as the savior god. He is one of the gods from the Tua De Danann, the mythical race, the fairy realm. And at first, when he wanted to be a part of it, they didn't know if he'd be the right fit, and then they realized that he would be the savior. And Lu is sun, it's of the light, right? So I mean, very, very powerful energy. So this festival is very much so honored and dedicated to him, Lughnasadh. But also the goddess of the sun, because we always talk about the goddesses, is his foster mother, and her name was Tol Chu. It's spelled like Tailtu, but it's pronounced Tol Chu. And she actually, and it's very much so the archetype of what's happening at this time of year, but she was the goddess of the earth, and she was always plowing the fields, and she actually died plowing the field of exhaustion, right? So this is such an interesting time, and it's really asking us, are we exhausting ourselves in any way? Because the earth is getting exhausted. It's a second harvest it's put out. Like, my veggie garden is like amazing, and like everything's 6 foot high, and at the same time things are starting to wilt. Things are starting to be like, oh, I've had enough now, I'm tired. And so the archetype of Tol Chu is like, it's yang time of year. We're wanting to put things out there in the world. We're wanting to go out there in the world. But the question is, are you exhausting yourself? So this is where this archetype comes in. So it's a very powerful time to just pause and reflect, right? And we'll do that through ritual, and we'll talk about ways of doing that. But some beautiful questions I would ask for you. You know, you can pause if you're watching this recorded or just do it afterwards, but just kind of reflect a little bit on, is there anywhere that I'm kind of overexerting myself, pushing myself to finish things, you know, when really what is the weather inviting us to do? It's like, oh, come lay on the beach, come lay under a tree, read a book, swim in the sea, you know, and it is so vital that we do that, because there is this balance, right, between work and play and, you know, peace and passion. And, you know, so finding that balance, and nature is always inviting us into that. Now, in saying that as well, it's also a really powerful time to be like, okay, so we're coming to the end of summer, and is there any like really important things that like I need to take action on, that I've been really meaning to, that's really meaningful for me? Or is there any projects that are just like really wanting to be completed at this time? So I invite everyone just to take some time and kind of sit with that, you know. So where is that up for you in your life?
Those are some beautiful questions for contemplation, and it kind of reminds me of how there's always a hint of winter in the summer and a hint of summer in the winter. It's like the little points on the yin yang symbol. Even in the midst of summer and the frenetic activity and the warmth that it brings, you should still make that little bit of time to be quiet and reflect on where you're going. Um, yeah, yeah, that was
Absolutely.
an image that came to mind. That came to mind for me as you were
That's
talking.
beautiful. That's beautiful. And it's a very powerful time. And that's why all these points are here to just remind us, like, let's just take time to pause. But, you know, these festivals, as we always talk about, have been honored by our ancestors for thousands and thousands of years. And it was actually, I mean, more as we go into the autumn equinox, but a little bit at this time of year, they harvest everything in, and, you know, obviously there's no fridges and stuff, freezers. So I mean, the wells, things may be placed at the wells, at the base of the wells to keep them cool. Or what they would do is they'd have these festivals and go, okay, so you can see now the forests are filled with the bilberries, the wild blueberries, frockenberries, some people call them, which are now, they're known to be very sacred, very powerful spiritual components to them. So what they had to do is, like, some of the stuff you could dry it, you could keep it somewhere cool, or you could put it in barrels, but actually some of the stuff would just go bad. So these festivals were a time of feasting and being like, okay, this stuff isn't going to last. Let's just feast ourselves for the next few days. And literally they would even put layers of extra, you know, to keep them warm, but also knowing that they would lose it in the winter when there was possibly a shortage of food. So it's really quite brilliant if we kind of look back, and these festivals that were honored by our ancestors and are by us now still, you know. This was a time where after Lou's foster mother Tolchu passed, plowing the fields, this earth goddess, like, he was in mourning for her, and he started during Lughnasadh that there were funeral games in honor of her. And then also this was a time, and just in case anybody's thinking about it, that they would do marriage trials, and they had this tradition where people would put their hands through the doors to meet each other, and they would carry on doing that until the next year. And then if the marriage trials worked, they would end up getting married this in a year from now. So, you know, if anybody's thinking of a marriage trial, now's the perfect time this week to do it. So, I mean, I just love the mythology and just how they celebrate it, and the reminders for us do the same. So, and I know a lot of this amazing community are actually in Ireland, and again, we are so blessed to have all these incredible, you know, sacred sites. So, you know, we always kind of, you can go to any sacred site and it's amazing, but Croagh Patrick, you know, that is very much so a site that is dedicated to Lughnasadh and to the sun god Lugh. So that would be a very powerful time over the next week to go and visit it. And actually it's fascinating. That mountain is supposed to actually have very beautiful crystals and gold laid throughout, but because it's a historical religious site, spiritual site as well, they won't let it touch. But see me, it's laden with gold in the mountain. And then one of the other sites is our dear Hilatara. So one of the cairns there is in alignment with Lughnasadh as well. So, you know, you've got a couple of opportunities. And then also, you know, very powerful rituals at this time of Lughnasadh was to go visit a sacred well. And we're so blessed to have them pretty much in every town in Ireland. And so you can just go sit with it, you can meditate in it, you can ask permission to get in. I often do that. Or, you know, a lot of the time there's the hawthorn trees, the fairy trees, these very healing trees. And you can bring an offering to the tree, but, you know, it's really an invitation not to be tying on anything that's not really eco-friendly, because it really will kill the tree. Milk cannot, because it used to be an offering that you'd bring milk, but it actually, they found out, destroys the roots of the trees. So tying nothing other than very eco-friendly stuff, but actually a perfect offering at this time of year would be the likes of corn, because that's all part of this harvest. So like if you want to give an offering, or, you know, add it to your altar, like corn or something would be a beautiful offering.
Yes, and I love your point about the many sacred sites that we have here in Ireland, and how actually we need to make more use of them, and we should visit them more often, and in a way pay homage to the ancestors we have who did exactly the same thing. This is really an awareness that needs to be brought back into modern life. So yeah, I'm moved that you brought up the many sacred sites and wells, and just I think fairy forts are another thing that come to mind, that are scattered throughout Ireland in lots of different towns and villages. There are so many wonderful resources that we have available to us here. Absolutely.
I'm right there with you, sister. I'm right there with you. And I mean, I'll literally, because I've a sacred well, there's, you know, 4 or 5 in the area. So I mean, a couple of times a week I will be at those wells and just honoring them. And I mean, they're like sacred divine feminine, like they're like the womb, and they're the yin energy, and the waters are so healing. And also I find when I go on a full moon, it's as if they just turn into this big crystal bowl, and any guidance you've ever needed just comes flowing up from the well, and they speak to you, like they bubble as you talk. They bubble if the answer is yes, or like, I mean, we are so blessed. I completely agree. And so honoring them, and when you're at them, just being really respectful and reverent to the sacredness, and taking that time to connect with your ancestors that have been there, you know, and honored. And the amazing thing about all our sacred sites is, you know, they're all built on energy lines, on ley lines, right? So that's what also makes them so powerful, is the fact that they're built on these lines of energy, or the lines of energy are there as well, should we say. Some of them are actually man-made, and some of them are like, obviously the wells aren't. And then all these ley lines, these meridians, like then line up with all the sacred sites, from the pyramids to Machu Picchu to all over the world. So when you are visiting one sacred site, and you are, you know, at that entrance to that cairn, or you're in the center, or the entrance stone of a stone circle or a fairy fort, you're actually connected with that absolute oneness of all. You know, so such a gift.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I feel like I need to go visit a fairy fort soon.
Do
Absolutely, you've inspired me. Yes.
what is close
Um,
for you, or is there a particular one speaking to you?
I live in Dunleary, so I'm not actually sure. It's quite urbanized around here, so I'm wondering. I'll need to research where my nearest fairy fort
Yeah,
is.
I was going to say tons
Absolutely.
of Wicklow, and up in even in the Dublin Mountains as well. So they're all around.
Absolutely. I won't be short of one, I'm sure. Oh, so I wanted to ask you as well, just in your view, what do you think some of the greatest gifts of Lughnasadh, of this particular time of year, are? Because obviously every different festival has its own energies and its own lessons. What do you think are some of the greatest gifts that Lughnasadh offers to us?
Yeah, I definitely think it's this invitation to find this, first of all, this kind of inner inner peace, like inner stillness within, because it's like in some ways the earth is it's dry and it's the land is harder, you know, the ground is harder, and yet there's this underbelly of softness to her, you know. And so even though there, I suppose in some ways there's experiences in your life that may feel harder to you on the outside, it's like, well, that inner, you know, finding that inner softness within. So I would say that's one huge teaching. And then it's also really inviting us to be present, you know, like again, it mightn't be an equinox per se, but it's very much so a point to just pause and to connect with these ancient ways of being, you know. And then I, last of all, like whatever projects you've been working really hard on, or even just relationships that you've been nurturing, whether it's with a partner, your children, your parents, your siblings, friendships, like how, like what are kind of the fruits of that, like important projects, things you've been writing, creating, painting, you know, anything that you've been putting your heart into, like how are the fruits of the labor, because that's what it's about, right? We planted all these crops and now, you know, like even with my vegetable garden, you know, I've been giving it love, you know, since the spring, and now look at all the fruits of the labor. It's like there's tomatoes and peas and beets and, you know, all sorts of, and that's the fruits of the labor. So it's really inviting us to see that. And, you know, like we're so quick to be like, I've done that, okay, I'll get onto this, and I've done this. And it's just like, no, just like pause and dance and celebrate this. Like, don't just jump onto the next thing. Let's be with this for a moment and really take it in, you know.
We can be too anxious sometimes to rush on to the next best thing or top what we've done before. I think a lot of us have that very competitive mindset in modern society that does not,
yourself, you know.
yeah. So taking this time to actually pause and celebrate, well, look what I've done now, appreciate the now. That's so important.
Oh, I 100% agree. So I mean, if that's the thing that you take from being at this time, that is just glorious, you know.
Wonderful. So on the note of pausing, one of the wonderful features of your summer solstice video was that you led us through a lovely meditation at the end. I wonder if you had one today
I would
for
love to.
Lughnasadh? Yeah,
Yes.
I'm excited.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me too. Okay, so I'm just going to invite everybody to just find a nice, comfortable seated position. And if you feel like you know, if you've got shoes on or even slippers or socks, just take them off, because you really want to feel your bare feet touching, whether it's a rug or a tile floor, wood floor, whatever surface, but have your barefoot, like allow it to be bare, you know, and actually like walking in the grass at this time, you know, barefoot in the sand is just so good for our bodies. So just kicking off and then just getting really comfortable and uncrossing anything that might be crossed, legs, arms. And then I'm going to invite you to gently close your eyes and bring your awareness inwards to your heart center. And then just fully welcoming yourself here and just dropping into this present moment, letting anything from the past be the past. It's done and gone. And without projecting anything into the future, just with your breath, just let yourself drop into this moment. So together, let's take some really nice, deep cleansing breaths. And as you inhale, we're just going to inhale and draw the energy up from the heart of the earth. We're just going to inhale that breath up through our bodies, all the way up to the crown of our head. And then just holding your breath for a moment, just holding. And then whenever you're ready with a big sigh and exhale, just let it go. Just let it go. And when you think, you've let it go, just let go some more. The more that we can just surrender into the moment, that's where the magic is, right? So let's take another deep inhale. Inhaling your breath all the way up to the crown of your head, all the way up. And then whenever you're ready, just exhale. Exhaling your breath all the way out. And we'll just do one more deep inhale together. Inhaling your breath up, 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 all the way to the crown of your head, and just holding her for a moment and just kind of honoring that time of Lughnasadh, that fullness, that ripeness. And then whenever you're ready, exhale. Exhaling your breath all the way out. And just connecting with that inner stillness. And to really root and ground our energy, sending our grounding cord at the base of our spine and the soles of our feet. And just sending that grounding cord deep down into the heart of Eru, of Tol Chu, the goddesses of the earth, Gaia, Sophia. And send that, your energy, down through the foundation of wherever you are, down to the layers of the earth, deep down to the very heart of the earth. And you know the second you've reached, because there is just this deep sense of, I'm home. The earth is our home. And we know our homes are something inside of us. And yet when we ground our energy and connect with the earth in this way, it's healing, transforming, rejuvenating. So just notice how it feels to be in the belly of the earth, the heart of the earth. And allow yourself to receive the nourishment and the wisdom, 4 billion years of wisdom from the earth. And at the same time, feeling the heat from the long summer, but also the coolness from being at the very depth of the earth. So just feeling this deep connection that really is your birthright to have with the earth. So really root in. So while sustaining this deep connection with the earth, we're going to invite your energy, very rooted, centered energy, and we're going to invite it up, back up from the earth, and just allow it to enter in through the base of your spine, through the soles of your feet, and just feel it like this orange light, the color of Lughnasadh, this soft orange light, and feel it moving up through your body, filling up every single cell as it moves up. Anywhere in your body that there's stiffness or tightness, just bring this warm, glowing light and allow there to be softness. Anywhere there's discomfort, just let it flow around and create healing and movement and fluidity as that moves all the way up through your body, moving up past all of your energy points, and as it does, opening them, clearing them, moving all the way down your arms and fingers, up past your magnificent hearts, all the way up to the crown of your head. Allowing your breath to be full and deep. So having your awareness of the crown of your head now, feeling your connection with your highest self, your beautiful highest self that is infinite wisdom and unconditional love. and is always available to you and is your birthright, just as your connection to the earth. Also connecting with pure source energy and allowing that to flow straight down like this bright white light down through your body, out around your energy field, creating this beautiful sphere shape around your body of white light, of pure consciousness, illumination, flowing out around your energy field through your entire body. And as that beautiful, earthy, grounded, deep sense of belonging energy flows to your heart, and this energy of pure source to your heart, and see them swirling around together at your heart. See what is being created with that unification of heaven meets earth at your heart. This is always available to you, every second of every day. So bring your awareness now to your third eye. And we're just going to go on a gentle journey together, allowing your breath to be flowing freely. As your mind's eye now, I invite you to see yourself standing at the top of this emerald green grassy mound. Look around, perhaps it could be an ancient cairn, or perhaps it's a fairy mound. That's for you to observe what this is. And in front of you is a doorway, a portal to another world. And beloveds, it's always up to you if you choose to go on this journey. It is always your choice, conscious choice. But if you decide to enter into this doorway, I invite you to make your way down the mound, putting one foot in front of the next. And as you look out in front at the base of the mound, there's a glistening lake. And you can see that there's a path to the left or to the right. As you make your way down, choosing whichever side of the mound to make your way around. Making your way around the lake. Just noticing what you hear and what you see, if you smell anything. As you make your way around to the far side of the lake, you're met by another entrance. Two tall trees to your left and to your right, ancient trees. I invite you to look and see what trees these are. And if you choose to go through this doorway, you will get to meet a guide for your next part of your journey in life. So if you decide to make your way in, just look up before you walk through and notice, do you see the sun or do you see the moon? Making your way in to this, to meet this wise one. So as you make your way in, is there somebody there to greet you? Only you will know. Perhaps it's color, there's symbols, or it's space. We're just going to take a moment here for you to be greeted by whomever and whatever they have to share with you in this moment. receiving whatever wisdom it is that they have to share with you. And knowing that you can come back and visit anytime you wish. You turn to make your way out. And before you do, I invite you to just look up and notice, do you see the sun or the moon? Making your way through these two beautiful ancient trees. And making your way back around the lake. And noticing, do you use the left or the right path this time? And as you make your way around the lake, you notice something at your foot and you look down. And there's a gift for you, an offering. See what that is. If you choose to pick it up, you're welcome to, or just observe what it is. Making your way around the rest of the lake, back over towards this mound. Making your way back up the mound one step at a time. All the way up to that entrance. Making your way back through the entrance. I invite you now, beloveds, just to take a moment to float your hands up to your heart center. Take a moment to acknowledge what you saw. Was there somebody there to greet you? Was there guidance that you received? What was the gift? Was it the sun or the moon? So taking a deep inhale and exhale. And then whenever you're ready, beloveds, I'm going to invite you to gently open your eyes. Slowly, you can stay in the space if you wish, and it would be really powerful while things are, really present with you, to get some pen and paper and write about, because sometimes we see things or we receive things, our guidance, and it doesn't make sense to us in the moment. And then we have like an aha, and it comes together. So take a moment to write about what was there, what was present with you. So how is that for you?
So nice. I'm just floating away in some clouds here. I'm very happy. I'm all good.
Oh. Well, thank you.
That was such a lovely journey. When you mentioned the sun and the moon, I saw them both kind of dancing around each other, just two spheres. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I mean,
like an infinity spiral. It was, yeah.
It's so perfect, because what we're talking about, the masculine, the feminine, the dance between them. And, this is very much so, like Lughnasadh, it's all the circle, right? It's the circle shape. It definitely is a more masculine time. It's honoring the god, the sun god, and the sun is round and it's full. It's more like the full moon versus the new moon. It's a really abundant time. But then at the same time, like we're saying, we're moving now. We're heading towards the autumn equinox after the 1st of August, so then that's the darker part of the year. And so it's amazing. What else was there somebody to greet you?
There was, but I didn't quite recognize them. It was just somebody very tall who had kind of an Asian appearance, and he sort of was leading me into what seemed like a big room with a huge bath in it. And so I ended up soaking in the bath for a little bit, which I was very happy with. Yeah, so I didn't recognize the guide, but no, it was an interesting one. It was lovely. Yeah. It just felt very relaxing and very peaceful. And then the gift that I saw was actually, it looked like a pen with a little moon carved on top of it. It was a very strange little thing, but I thought, okay, maybe this is because I'm trying to write a novel at the moment. So maybe I'm handing me this pen.
Clearly, you're getting some kind of bath and relax, so you're all relaxed to write your novel.
It could be that, yeah.
Oh, it's
Yes.
beautiful.
It was
Hmm.
all very symbolic. I think I might have to get my own notebook now and
Yeah.
write down some of my insights.
And it was interesting because I just while I was guiding it, when I went in, and there are the oak trees, and of course the oak tree are what's the tree of Lughnasadh, you know. But I went and there was just this big dragon. I've never had that experience before, and with a fire dragon, so that was amazing.
Mm. Even as you were leading it, you were experiencing new things as well, and
Yeah, yeah.
different beings coming to you. Yeah, it was
Well, our work is
incredible.
our medicine, isn't it? You know.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
Amazing. And I still can't get over how we wore the same color. That's
I love
just,
it.
I'm going to be laughing about that all day. Oh, Amanda, as always, it was a huge honor to speak with you.
Honor to speak with you, Lo, as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I hope, Positive Lifers, that you enjoyed it. And if you're watching this back later, do take some time to consider Amanda's questions and write down some reflections that come to you from them. Thank you so much for joining us.
Mm.
So we'll have to invite you back, Amanda, for the autumn equinox, because I
Oh, I
think
love that.
that's another very powerful portal time. And
Absolutely. But
I'm
have
sure
fun.
there'll be,
You know, if you feel like you're going to go to Sacred Well, or if you can make it to Crowpatch, which is in Mayo, right? So, or Hillatara, Meath, you know, it's all things
wonderful.
are open now, so we can do that again, which is beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.